So because you have removed all the paneer, cheese and all that from the diet, what happens is the dairy substitutes are of course the nut butters. So you do have the macadamia butter and the almond butter, peanut butter. These are all substitutes for the cheese. Okay? So people like this creamy textured food, so then they end up eating this. And of course taking nuts in large quantities. Can this make one gain weight? Yes, of course. If you are exceeding the calorie limit for the day, obviously the unused calories will get converted to fat. No doubt about it. You just need to figure out what is it that you need for a day and which are the foodstuffs which have a lot of fat in it. See, fat again is being touted as the villain. Okay, fat is always shown in bad light. Fat has its own benefits. Now the idea is whether you're choosing the good fat or the bad fat. That's the main thing. So if you understand what are the bad fats and what are the good fats, then you're pretty sorted and you will be able to carry this forward in a very beautiful way. And you will get the health results also. So what is the bad fat? Usually it's the trans fats. Okay, for the bakery industry, the pure oils have been converted, or rather it's chemically treated, and that's how you get trans fats or hydrogenated fat, which we call as vanaspati. So those kind of commercially baked foods have quite a lot of these. So whenever you buy any foodstuffs, make sure that you're looking at the food label. That will give you a lot of information. And main thing is to avoid anything which says partially hydrogenated fat or hydrogenated fat. That is something that you have to completely avoid. Another factor is whenever you are choosing any of the vegan foods, make sure that you understand the portion sizes and also check the fat content in those kind of foods. It could be good fat, but anything in excess is going to accumulate as additional calories and it will get accumulated as fat in your body. So make sure while you are being a vegan, you're also having an active lifestyle. So exercise is a very important component irrespective of which diet you're following, and also make sure that you don't have any hormonal imbalances, that you're eating and sleeping on time, and whether you're also being active throughout the day. There's something called as NEAT calories, because as a sports nutritionist, we always focus on these factors as well. So we tell them that it's not enough that you go to the gym for 1 hour and then for the rest of the day you're going to be sitting in the couch or just working on the laptop. You could be doing something absolutely productive. But what could happen is you're not walking or moving around much. So it'll be great if you can take breaks throughout the day and walk and move around. And that's going to expend a lot more calories. And this is called as non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And throughout the day when you're like super active, and these small breaks that you take throughout the day will ensure that you're able to expend more calories. Okay, so being a vegan doesn't give a free ticket, like by default you will lose weight. No, pay attention to the calories that's coming along. You need to know what are the good fats and bad fats, and then customize the diet accordingly. Hope this is clear for you. How to resist food cravings. This is one of the biggest challenges for anyone who wants to make some changes in their eating pattern, or someone who wants to shed some weight and has met a quality nutritionist. So, what exactly, or how do we handle this situation? Okay, so food cravings basically, you really need to ask yourself: is it because I'm truly hungry? Is it because of an emotional aspect? Okay, there are times when you're like super upset, anxious, stressed, or if there's some kind of fear. These emotions actually rake up quite a lot of these feelings, and then we look for foods for comfort. This comfort eating comes in, and in fact, right from the time we are children, if you were to cry, your parents would have given you a chocolate or something sweet, or bought you a cake and then made you nice and calm, right? So there is a pattern that is set, and then every time you're upset, you would actually reach for something that's sweet and that kind of calms you down. So there is this association with situations and the food that you eat, and that kind of sets in a mind and it becomes a habit for life. Okay, so watch out for something like this. Are you craving because of emotional aspect, or is it because of a true physical need? Okay. Another factor is usually women just before the periods, before the menstrual cycle, will be craving for sugar, and that's totally hormonal. Okay, so premenstrual syndrome that we call it. Besides all the mood swings and then becoming vulnerable, they also feel a lot of sugar cravings that kick in at that point in time. So it could be purely hormonal as well. Okay, another aspect from a professional's point of view, because in the 20 years of my work experience, what I've noticed is at the cellular level, if the nutrient deficiency is not addressed, what really happens is you end up craving for quite a lot of these kind of nutritious foods. Okay, but then we end up reaching for the wrong food. For example, if you're craving for bhaji, bonda, samosas, khakra, or anything crispy like a murku and chips, at the cellular level, the craving is actually for good fats. Now, where do you find good fats? Nuts, seeds, avocado, good quality butter and ghee. Okay, so these are all the good fats which is there in your diet, and also of course the flaxseed and the cucumber, melon, pumpkin seeds, and all of that have a lot of good fats in them. Plus, of course, the pulses also have some good fats, and whole grains, they also have a little bit of good fat in their bran. Now, when you're not eating these kind of nutritious foods, but then you're continuing to eat junk foods, now what happens is the body has a deficiency of these kind of good fats. Omega-3 fatty acids, as you know, is there in fish as well as flaxseed, walnuts, almonds, and all that. But if you are someone who doesn't consume all of this, there could be a deficiency of omega-3, and that could create or wake up a food craving of these kind of crispy foods. Okay? So the body keeps on setting it unless you satiate it. So make sure that you're choosing the right kind of foods. And in case you're craving for sugary foods, it could be an indication of a deficiency of B complex, magnesium, manganese, selenium, chromium, or zinc. So basically, you just need to eat a variety of foodstuffs which are like loaded with nutrients so that you're getting vitamins and minerals on a daily basis. If this is sorted, then your cravings can be sorted to a great extent. But if you say, I'm doing all of this and still feel the need to eat something sweet, oh, here are the options. What you can have is, of course, this fruits. So fruits like sitafal or the custard apple or the chiku or the sapota that we call it. And then also any kind of fresh fruit. It could be a ripe guava, papaya, pomegranate, pineapple. All these are naturally sweet, and that will actually take care of your sweet craving. Next best thing that you can choose will be jaggery, also dates and dry fruits like raisins, fig, prunes, apricots. All these are sweet. Okay, so you can consume this as well. If you can avoid white sugar and any kind of added sugar, you will feel the hint of sweetness in everything that you eat. Even when you consume milk without sugar, you will be able to see the sweetness or feel the sweetness in the plain milk itself. Okay, so the best would be to avoid sugar to a great extent and address if there are any emotional issues that is coming and actually, posing as a block for your progress as far as diet is concerned. Fix it and then check yourself if you have any of the nutrient deficiencies. Perhaps you could be on a supplement for just a couple of months, and then by the time, if your diet is well balanced and if you're consistently consuming nutritious foods, then you're absolutely fine. You won't have these kind of cravings at all. Okay. And another strategy would be to actually go out for a run or take your pet for a good walk, or you could get a manicure or a pedicure, or distract yourself by listening to some music or doing some artwork. Because once you take your mind off, and once that awareness is there that I'm going to make a mistake of eating something sweet and which is not good for my system, but let me take up another activity which is not related to food, you will be able to see a major shift in yourself, and over a period of time, this will become a habit. So watch out, watch your thoughts, be aware, and you will be able to see some amazing results coming. As soon as you wake up, drink a glass of water, 1 glass or even 2 glasses of water, okay? And make sure that you have soaked some nuts. You can soak it overnight, or else just have some raw nuts first thing in the morning. So it could be almonds or walnuts or pistachios, or whichever nuts you like. Have around 5 to 10 pieces of that. Again, the quantity will depend on your height, weight, age, gender, and the nutrition goals that you're looking at. So after eating the nuts, if you feel like drinking something warm like tea or coffee, you can always use a nut milk and then have tea or coffee. Or you can have any of the green tea or any herb tea or black tea with lemon or black coffee. Any of these are absolutely fine. Now for breakfast, you can have idli, dosa, poha, okay, or else upma, but make sure that you're adding a lot of vegetables, some sprouts. Poha could be, you can actually add a lot of sprouts to the poha as well as a handful of peanuts, and make the poha like super delicious as well as nutritious. Okay, so and ade pesrattu, and you can even add green leafy vegetables to it, like moringa leaves to ade. You can add moringa leaves to a ragi ade or a ragi roti, or even a moong dal idli or dosa. Okay, so these are your options for breakfast. Now, when it comes to in between fillers, you can either have coconut water or else you can have lemon juice or any of the herb tea or ginger tea or dry ginger tea. Any of this is absolutely fine. And lunch. If you're looking at the main meals like lunch and dinner, it could be rice based or millet based, or it could be rajgira or amaranth, or it can even be quinoa. So basically bath, or else just the plain rice along with 2 or 3 cups of vegetables, different colored vegetables every single day, and then one portion of dal every day. Okay, and you can also bring in tofu, or else you can bring in different varieties of beans or legumes, which is rajma, or else you can add peanuts to your sambar and make it much more nutritious. Even that is fine. You can make chutneys to bring in a lot of spice and sour taste to it and make your food very interesting. So you can do this for any of your main dishes. So for dinner, in case you want, you can even prepare rotis. So it can be ragi, jogar, bajra rotis, or you can add any of these millet flour to the idli dosa batter and prepare a nice idli dosa, which is of course loaded with millets. This is absolutely nutritious. You can have that with any kind of chutney. So coconut chutney, green chutney, mint chutney, all that is. So those were the options for main meals, for lunch and dinner. If you're interested, you can try a wide range of rice as well as millets. Okay, you can even check out the traditional ancient rice which is available. So these are called as Mapule Sambarasi, Kulakar Arasi, Thuyamalli. These are available in the southern belt. So you can go ahead and try any of this ancient rice. This is loaded with a lot of micronutrients, and these are unpolished. So you will find quite a lot of B complex available through the natural sources. This is excellent. So try that. Okay, you can also have fermented ragi or bajra. So these kind of porridges are prepared, and in Tamil Nadu it's called as kood. Okay, that's like really, really nutritious. So you can have this as well. Another factor is of course the evening snack. So what can you have as an evening snack? Could be fresh fruits. You can just have any kind of seasonal fruit. And if you're watching your weight, make sure that you're not taking any kind of juices or milkshakes. Make sure that you're eating fresh fruits, anywhere between 3 to 5 fruits a day, and that will be remarkable. You will really see a big difference in your overall health and wellness. Another factor would be to go ahead and take nuts and seeds. You can have roasted Bengal gram, or you can prepare a bel puri at home. Okay, you can just go ahead and prepare a bel puri with a lot of sprouts, raw vegetables, coconut pieces, and just go ahead and toss it with some green chutney and take it. That's also great. Dokla or khandvi can be taken either for main meals, or you can even have it as a snack. So the quantity is important. Boiled corn is another option. Okay? So you have this wide variety. You can mix and match and use this, and these are not very expensive. And these are available locally, and you can easily go ahead and consume this on a daily basis so that you do not develop any kind of deficiency. So go ahead and try these options, and I'm sure you would really reap very good health benefits over a period of time. So we've looked at veganism from every angle. See, being a vegan is a choice that one has to make. Okay? I've seen a lot of clients who become vegan and then they are absolutely happy in that space. There are also people who chose to become a vegan for a period of time, and after which they went back to eating small quantities of their favorite foods, like say dairy products occasionally. So it's a choice that one makes, and the health benefits, it's undoubtedly remarkable. You can definitely go ahead and take it. So if you have the willpower, strength to make that transition, to make that paradigm shift to eat only plant-based foods, you have a number of options. Earlier, as a sports nutritionist, I used to recommend whey protein for a lot of cricket players and a whole lot of recreational as well as competitive athletes. Now the market is flooded with plant protein options. It's really fun because they do not have an issue at all. The switchover or the transition has been so smooth, and they are still able to go ahead and work out in the gym for hours together and get adequate protein just by consuming these kind of plant protein powders. Okay, so it's all about taking professional help, getting a medical checkup before getting started on this kind of a plan, and discussing, in case you have any health issues, discuss with a physician whether this can be done and what are the pros and cons. Okay. Next thing would be to sit with your qualified nutritionist dietitian and then customize a plan which suits your budget, your lifestyle, as well as your goals. Okay. So if you could spell out all this and then get a customized plan, nothing like it, it'll be really good, and you will see a whole lot of benefits just by switching over to a plant-based diet. Hope this helps, and wishing all of you good health and happiness always. Thank you. So one of the biggest concern of being a vegan or planning, if you are planning to switch over to a vegan, the main concern is, am I going to get adequate protein? You don't have to worry at all. You just need to understand that you need to put things together. You need to understand the food combinations, and that is it. Okay. So when you work with a qualified nutritionist or a dietitian, they will be able to chart out a plan for you. And let's look at the sources. Okay. Veganism is all about plant proteins. So you only have to look at plant sources. So the biggest or the first thing that comes to my mind is definitely soy. Soy protein, you do have soybeans, and then you also have fermented soy. Just like paneer, you do have tofu. So that's one. Tempeh, miso, all these are like really good. And you also get fresh edamame, which is like really tender beans. So this can be taken. And a whole lot of legumes. In Indian diets itself, you will find cowpeas, and then rajma, which is kidney beans, and chickpeas or garbanzo beans, then green gram, fresh peas. All these different varieties of legumes are very good sources of protein. So you could definitely consider that. And one of the cheapest sources, like if you can't afford to eat any nuts, I think you can definitely consider groundnuts. Okay, so that's actually a legume. So groundnuts will come into the dal category. So each day you could pick one. So Monday to Sunday you have a plethora of options. That's one thing to consider. Next thing, of course, is if you're so used to drinking milk, what next is the option, right? So almond milk, or else walnut milk, or cashew milk, or rice milk, and you also have options like flax, oats milk, and all that. So these can be prepared at home. You have a whole lot of recipes that's available, and you can just go ahead and do that. So there are plenty of dairy alternatives, and if you love curds, don't worry. With the peanut milk itself, you can go ahead and make peanut curd. Okay, likewise with soy milk. So there are n number of options when you choose to become a vegan. Another factor is you do have a whole lot of grains and legumes, right? And it's all about putting these two together. So let me give you a very simple example. So if you are a South Indian, I'm sure you're very fond of idli and dosas, right? So when you're making idlis and dosas, make sure that it is combined with sambar, which is nice and thick, so that a whole lot of dal is added to it. Okay, so now that is a good source of protein, and then you're going to add quite a lot of vegetables to that sambar. Now what happens? You're going to be getting a good dose of fiber, and then of course protein, and a lot of B complex and other micronutrients. And whichever amino acid is absent in dal is present in rice. Okay, so that whichever amino acid is absent in the rice is present in the dal. So when you mix up these two, what really happens is you're getting complementary protein, and they match beautifully. So it can be rice with rajma. Okay, rajma rice is a very popular, rajma chawal as they call it, is very popular among Punjabis. And then we all eat pongal, right? So you can make like a millet pongal, or it's the regular staple rice pongal itself. Or it can be, as I said, appam and chana curry or idli dosa with a thick sambar and a lot of vegetables. Or you can even have some ade or peseratel. So all these are great options for you to become, if you choose to become a vegan. So this is how you can go forward. Even if you don't get chia seeds, or if you find it expensive, use the locally available sabja, and that still doesn't work. So you will get a whole lot of micronutrients, and of course bring in a lot of fruits, vegetables, green leafy vegetables, and eat a lot of colorful fruits and vegetables. And then what you get to see is an absolutely balanced diet. You don't have to worry at all. And if you're someone who likes cheese or any food with that kind of a texture, you can actually start making vegan cheese at home. Another option is also butters. Nut butters are also nice and creamy, and this can be used as a spread for your bread. Okay, so go ahead, choose vegan products, and a whole lot of products can be prepared at home. A whole lot of dishes can be made. There are plenty of resources, so you don't have to worry at all. And you will get the best of all, and you'll also see remarkable changes in your blood parameters and all that.